that is how we actually help you sign 3 to 5 new clients a month using Twitter content. So now this is for you if you have or sell a high ticket offer, have at least 3 case studies, and make at least $30,000 a month. So if you don't have this, this doesn't mean you should leave. You don't necessarily have to leave. You can still watch this video, learn and implement whatever I'm about to share with you, and go use to sign clients. So why is this important? Why is 30K a month important to the first place? So when you hit 30K a month, you're somewhat close to having a product market fit, have already working client acquisition process, a selling offer, a unique mechanism, and that's proof that you're somewhat competent in your content. You're somewhat competent in what you're doing, right? So all of these will be important in achieving what I'm about to share with you. That's why I put that up front. So let's get into it. So it starts with offers. So now, without a proven offer or one optimized for your audience or people on Twitter, you struggle to sell. And no crazy strategy will help you out. So if you already sell to cold traffic, let's say you run ads or you do cold email or you get clients with cold DM, you have nothing to worry about there. But if you grew mainly with referrals, then you most likely have work to do. You most likely have to still reframe your offer in such a way that people on Twitter or your ideal clients who are active on Twitter and pretty much see your competitors and all that, you probably most likely have to review your offer so they'll be able to buy. So next is offer tier. So talking about offers too, one thing about selling high ticket program is that, or high ticket offers done for you, done with you, whatever, not everyone will be ready to buy when you pitch. It's still going to take months before they finally buy. I've had cases like that. A client took like maybe 6 months or 8 months to finally convert. Though you convert some maybe in just a few DMs or just one call or whatever. So if you currently sell only your high ticket offer, there is a high chance you're probably still only scratching the surface and it's holding you back from getting as many clients as you wish. But if you had a low ticket offer that's easy to pay for, gives people a taste of your service and keeping them wanting more, you build multiples of your current customer base and have your pipeline always full. Now let me explain. So for example, I know someone who sells a $97 offer on the front end with his content and does like 50 to 100K month on the back end, upselling the shit out of his customers. Less than 5,000 followers. So you don't need a ton of followers to make this possible. So now let me give you examples of these low commitment offers to build your customer base. So one here is consulting, another is workshop, another is courses and audits, another is my favorite one here, a tiny fraction of your done for you offer. So for example, when I ran a recruitment agency and used to target ghostwriters, I placing reply guys for them, which I knew was a very important hire for ghostwriters for like $150. And from there, I get to know exactly okay what they're doing, what other things they're missing out. And then some people I got to upsell to 3K a month. So that's $150 done for each service that I don't have to fulfill myself, then upsell to 3K. So now your low ticket done for you can be $700, can be $1,000. The whole goal is to upsell. And this is a lot easier to sell and very easy to deliver, and there's a high chance you deliver a very good result because it's basically you just promising something small and then delivering quick, not no crazy guarantee compared to your fully done for you stuff. So now let's aside that, now let's get into the actual ways to sign high ticket clients. So now there's cold DMs, there's inbound leads that's relying highly on your content, warm DMs which also relies highly on your content, and lastly email lists. So I wouldn't be talking about email lists. It's not my area of expertise, but with a good email marketing strategy, I'm sure you can predictably get clients. I've never used it, not my area of expertise. So now, first, cold emails. This has the lowest conversion rate, requires crazy volume to get results, especially on Twitter. When systemized, it becomes predictable. So inbound leads has the highest conversion rate. There's a time I and my clients used to actually depend on this to get clients, but it depends highly on your content strategy. When systemized, it becomes predictable. I hear a ton of people say, okay, you can't predictably get clients with content, but then the whole reason they say that is because they're not putting out the number of volume and depth and quality they need to be putting out in their content um to consistently get leads that lead into high paying clients. It takes a ton of work. So now warm DMs meet conversion rate, but you must maximize it every time. It highly depends on your content as well, and it can be predictable. So those are the, if I were to put the top three ways that we're going over here, it's cold DMs, inbound leads, and warm DMs. So now let's go exactly into content. This was the whole idea of the video. How do we actually sign 2 to 3 clients every single month using Twitter content? So if you're trying to sign clients with content, there are a few questions you need to ask yourself. So first is, what would my ideal client pay attention to in your content? What do they want to see? What would make them see me as a solution to their pains or frustrations? What are my competitors who are getting results doing? By result now, I'm talking about, are they getting clients with Twitter? They getting a good share of authority on Twitter. How do I prove my competence in my content? How do I position my personal brand in such a way that whenever my ideal client sees it for the first time, they would immediately see me as made for them and maybe even drop me a follow? How do I make sure I attract the right people? These are very valid questions that will make you understand and realize the standard of content you need to be putting out. You realize that it's a ton and it's probably way more than the volume you're actually putting out now. But regardless of how much you think about it, how well, how what you end up deriving as your answers from these questions and what you need to put out, it's going to end up being this. So first one here is breakdown, number two is social proof, three here actionable content, four here stories, and five lead magnet posts, and six hand raisers, and then I put in bridges. But now let's talk about them one by one. So first here, breakdown. So if you sell content, break down performing content. If you sell funnels, break down performing funnels, and it just goes like that. If you sell what's it called, community building, break down good communities, all that. So but now these are a few examples here, right? So now this is one. It says, okay, let me just put it back. This is a breakdown of breast skills 150K a month funnel, and this one is a breakdown of how brands scale to 500K a month. But unlike these ones, I would recommend one where you're the catalyst, where you were the one that made the funnel workout or whatever you're breaking down workout, because this one no one really pays attention to your breakdown of someone else's funnel. Your ideal client wouldn't really look into it, but they would pay attention to one in which you did yourself. So these are very similar to case studies. So if you think about using breakdowns, which is a very good, they're usually long form videos. As you can see, this one is 40 minutes long. The average one is like 7 to about 15-20 minutes. So these are very good to get your ideal client to watch your stuff. And so it's best to just spend your time breaking down what you've done yourself, or what's something you add some involvement in. Number two here is social proof. Now that's the screenshot, the client testimonial, the case studies, the client interviews. I mean, if you were just making, let's say, 1 to 2 posts a day and they were somewhat around this is more than enough. Like, this is the number one thing you want to be putting out in your content, because it basically proves your competence. So now these are examples here. So this is Amin says, how I saved this brand last minute before BFCM, 74K generated. I think that was in a month. This one is a recruiter. He runs a hiring agency or so. As how we helped Iman Arab scale his agency to a 3K a month, and while reducing his workload by 50%. So these are things you can put out. You can also put out your testimonials and all that. I know maybe they are in the landing page, you have documents on it, but you still have to put them out as content. Not everyone actually goes through your funnel and read those things. So bring them to the surface where anyone can read, so you get to prove your competence, and people are like, okay, if this guy has gotten this kind of result, for someone just like me, you can probably get the same result for me too. So now, next is actionable content, educational content. So here, this is Karina Liz talking about, I don't want to be pushy, it's costing you 100K in missed upsells. So I think the whole idea of the post is talking about why people are not like his ideal clients. I think those are coaches are not getting results with their upsells, that are not getting upsells. So it's basically an educational content on like what the problem is, why what you're doing is not the solution, and what to do instead. So this kind of content is basically going to make your ideal client say, oh, okay, yeah, this is what I've been doing wrong, and then they pay attention. And if they get to, let's say, implement whatever you've said and get even a bit of result, like that's fantastic. You just have to come in and pitch them for the whole thing. So this really works, but uh, I wouldn't recommend you doing too much, like going too in depth, because they just want to implement themselves without paying for your service. So next is stories. So there are different ways to go about stories. There are personal stories, client stories, prospect stories. So in the examples, Kieran Drew, he is known mainly for writing. He sells a writing course as well. This J.K. Molina. So it says 12 years ago, I broke my neck. Then doctors found this is basically a personal story. And then there are client stories. So they're similar to case studies, but it's something like, okay, my client was in this position and they struggled with this, they were doing all this and all that, and this is where they are now. This is where they are now. Or your clients, your most of your clients used to make this kind of mistake, or a unique problem a client had, and then you talk about it. So anyone or any person who is your ideal client who sees that kind of story and like are in a similar position will find this relatable. And if you solve that problem for that person in the story, then they assume you most likely can do the same. So this is the reason you need to be putting out stories in your content. So then there are prospect stories as well. So for example, let's say a prospect was on the edge of working with you, and then maybe they went to a different agency and the agency fucked them up or something along the line. You can put that kind of thing out. So there are different ways to go about stories: personal stories, client stories, prospect stories, all of it. So now up next is a lead magnet post. So this is very effective. One good one could get you up to 30 leads. So now this is Tyler Bevekwa. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He is into systems and operations and all that for agencies. So now this is the lead magnet and SOP automation analysis too. So over 369 people got in. There was another one where he made it like this that got over 400 comments. This is something I do a lot for my clients as well. And when I looked into his ideal clients and the people that helped on this, there were about 20 to 30 people who are actually qualified uh for his service that helped on this too. So it doesn't have to pitch them. Maybe five get interested, get three book one, or close one client. This is really how it works. And then this one is by Alfie Carter. So I found a way to it does LinkedIn outbound DMs. So now the lead magnets are usually related to your service, right? So now 545 people. This one got a lot of interested leads. I think when I looked into it, about 50 or 70 people were people you'd ideally work with because it does outbound DMs and they make good money actually. And they were interested in what he's putting out there. So couple DMs to all of these people will probably get him like 10 calls if done right. 10 calls, maybe two new clients. So lastly here, hand raisers. So this is you basically putting out, okay, this is my offer, this is how I can help you, this is the result we've gotten for others. If you're interested, send me it in. This is basically what's happening here. And I know fully well these posts, this particular post by Spencer led to like 7 or 10 leads. This one led into clients. So they actually work and you can implement this to your entire content strategy. This is something we use for clients as well to predictably get leads and get inbound uh, get inbound leads that turn into book calls and turn into clients. So here I put in bridges. So here, what I'm meaning to say here is that content that highlights where your ideal client is, where they could be, and then positioning whatever you sell as the solution. So these combined alone break down social proof, um, stories, lead magnet posts. These combined alone will give you a minimum of 30 interested leads every single month if you implement well. So the reason many people are not implementing this, they're not doing this because it takes a ton of work. Every single one requires a lot of focus and good writing to get the best results out of it. So but doing this alone will get you at least 30 interested leads every single month. Let's say you're eating all of them every single week. So imagine you get the amount of leads. There's no freaking way you wouldn't book at least 15 meetings, even if you saw, and sign at least two new clients every single month. And I said with other elements you could get it to 50 to 100, which I didn't talk about in this video. But in this video I'm talking about only content. So those are the main pieces of content you need to be putting out in your content, and this is what we're currently implementing for clients that is getting them a ton of leads that are also leading into clients. So if you're interested in me helping you to implement this in your content, getting all of this out every single day, every single week, and leading into 2 to 3 clients every single month, you can send me a DM, or drop a comment down below. So thanks for watching.